The night of the 14th of November 2025, they tell us there's a storm and there's a lot of wet rain down the south and a little wind. A funny thing I remarked last night, a concrete patio that has been wet for a month suddenly began to dry up a lot. I'd say that the moisture must be all absorbed from the northeast part of the country and deposited somewhere else. Anyway, I hope everyone comes safe. Now, one of the most difficult jobs on a lathe is parting off. And I think no one ever conquers it completely. Certainly with soft material, it's relatively easy. But the key to it is you cannot just feed the tool in. You cannot feed the cutting tool in and keep digging. You need some lateral, you need some play up and down the bed of the machine so that the cutter cuts in and then you move it sideways and it cuts a bit there and then you come back and forward. Now I have only one hand here. This piece of steel, I want it for a little project that I'm doing, but this piece of steel is the axle of an old Ford Nan or Ford Ferguson tractor, and it shows you how badly it's rusted. It lay out for a long time. It's surely 70 years of age, but I have found the steel in old axles of machines absolutely terrific, even by today's standards. I know it doesn't contain some of the modern elements. I don't know what it's the equivalent of, but it's toughened. Now, the way this stuff comes, this is already heat treated in a factory. And if you go to Rutan and warm it, well, unless you're just using small components, you can anneal them and harden them again. But if you can use them as they are, you have a great wear-resistant properties in them. I have only one hand here. I'm just going to give you a general idea of how it goes. So you see as I feed in, up and down, you see? And then I just use a squirter here for fluid. Now when you have the two hands, it's a lot different. But I've got in a nice bit there. Now this is a tungsten carbide tool, cutter. The very best that can be brought in the local variety mart. So it comes off in a kind of a peel. It's possible that the internal of the axle is softer than the external. That is possible, because the original heat treatment at the factory may not have gone in that far. Now once I get in a certain amount, the device I'm making here is a washer shape, and once I get in a certain amount I can stop, because I can bore out the center. So that's quite a successful parting off there. I'll just bring you down a bit closer to it so you can see my hand there. You see, that's quite successful. Now, one of the great things about this is, if I machine down here and in here with the side of the cutter, I can have the two sides precisely parallel. They're exactly right in relation to each other, or they're true, in other words. And then you have a piece of a washer-shaped device. Now, actually, this is for to replace a piece of a machine, and it has to be an exact size. So a washer won't do. And anyway, a washer is coated with they're only punched. They're not to this precise size at all. However, you never machine something if you can buy it to do the same job, but you can't buy stuff in the shop or anywhere that it does the same job, that works the same as precise. An example might be, now, if you were going to make a wheel, a cog wheel, that'd be ideal. You could continue in there, have your cog wheel parallel sides, and then you'd be ready to cut your teeth with a special cutter for the job. So that'd be an example. And I always like to start with a decent piece of material. I don't know how I said this because I'm just trying to use all my hands. The practice is you buy a material that's fit for the final purpose. If you make a component and it's out of annealed steel, and then you go to heat treat it, you change its dimensions. You can warp it a bit, and also a scale falls with the forms with the oxidization of the steel. So there's some things you can certainly heat treat. Some parts you can definitely, if they're intricate, you can't really machine them, or you can't file them too well if they're very hard. So you have to bring them down to a certain size, but a certain hardness. But an axle of a tractor is designed to be tough. I mean, that axle has ploughed. And I love using old stuff like that, because you're using old vintage stuff that has historical significance. I've made parts out of machines that my ancestors used and refigured them into something else. A sort of, I don't know what the wording is it. So we're ready to, you see here now, I can now drill up here. I can bore in the centre, but before I do, I make sure I get down far enough, and then I'll take a run. I have a bit to go on this. I'll take a sliver off the inside to get it perfectly parallel, get a perfect side on it. So I'm now coming near as deep as I want to go, and you can see as I advance it here with one hand, and you see, over and back about 2 millimeter, and therefore your cutter is not just feeding straight in, and it has a bit of clearance at the side for chips and all that to take away. Now I'll just show you what I'm using here as a cutter. So there's the cutter there. It's in a special holder. These are great. They're tungsten carbide, and they're held in by a stout bolt here. Great job, a great job to sink. So I've done that on it now, and the tungsten carbide comes into its own for this type of work. But good high-speed steel. I've machined this stuff with high-speed steel too. Now here I'm going to try and take a skim under the power feed inwards, and we'll see how we get on. So going well. Now, I kept going there till I heard the growl, and the growl means when you're using any machine, whether it be a tractor or anything else, it's important that you're sympathetic to it. With a tractor, if you leave some of the spools for working the hydraulics and the front loader, if you leave them actually activated, you'll hear the engine continually pumping the fluid. You don't need that. Once it does the job, push your lever down. And so with this, as I take the skim off the inside of this, there, you see it? There, I put my hand on it. As I take the skim there, I get to the very centre point. You see the centre little piece that's holding it. And once it hits that, the lathe begins to growl. And this is where the experienced machinist comes into his own, because the minute it goes to growl, you stop. You throw your switch, your power feed, and you stop. So I'm going to withdraw it out here now. And so that's it there. So there's a lovely clean disc there of good steel for the wee job I want. Now, is there anything else I want to tell you? Yes, selecting the speed for cutting. Well, I tend to do it by instinct rather than by the book. But when you're cutting up this way, long ways, longitudinally is not what you call it, you have the same amount of feed all the time. When you cut the traverse, they call this, in this way, you have a different speed out here because of pi than you have in here. So as it goes in, you're cutting less each time. And sometimes that can affect in a poor finish here on it. But it's not so bad there. So that's the idea. That's how I have gone about this little job. Now, the next thing will be to get my micrometer, my vernier calipers, because you won't get a micrometer calipers in there, and get the thickness of this precise. And the next thing now, I've taken a run in there successfully. I'll take a slight run along here, just a very slight run. I might do it with the parting tool and get the diameter of it here precise. And then I'll drill in here. A hole, and I'll get to the point where I make my washer shape. But the great thing, everything's tight, everything's held way back. This piece is not overhung. This piece goes in this way. And that's the thing about a lathe. This is a 5 Morse taper spindle. So that's ample to get that well back there. Small lathes, you'd be in trouble. How do you get this pushed in? You'd have to cut it off here with a saw. You'd have to cut it there. So that's the thing. This size, this lathe is ideal for nearly, it's perfect in many ways. Really well made in Taiwan and really well thought out. It has its faults. Take it off this chuck, you need a special appliance. You don't try to batter it off with a hammer or you'll break the whole gears. That's one fault. One thing. And also I've cancelled out the solenoid switch on it long ago and replaced it with a push-pull cable, which was one of the best things. I must have 7 years since I did that. Okay, folks, the main point here is you try to organize your work so that you don't take it out. You do everything while it's still in place, and you'll get on. You wouldn't believe how accurate you could actually get, provided you take it nice and easy. I don't have the island system working on this. The pump went long ago, but this does me a bit of squirt. Does grand. But you need a lubricant to cool it and to help it cut. And you have your choice then of high-speed steel cutters for some things. And high-speed steel can leave lovely work, but modern what do you call them? Tungsten carbide inserts are pretty good. I don't know, is there a difference in the quality? If anyone knows anything about machining, they might let me know. I think they're all the same, tell you the truth. They're made out of sintered tungsten carbide. So we'll see you back. And by the way, my workshop here is heated with a diesel space heater, and it's a great job. It's a Hyundai, which seems to be good, and it's very important to filter the fuel, and that's another project I have to do. Now, I've a couple of other projects for people, and I'll try and get them done as much as I can, but I have things for myself as well. And so we'll see you back, folks. That's 13 minutes on parting off. The main point is, if you're parting off, you do this motion. Do you see that? Now, I know there'll be some of the smart fellas on here. Oh, you have chips. There's a fella there, Joe Hayes, and he thinks that you can actually cut and remove steel without having swarf, without having any of this. Yeah, that's the world they live in. Anyway, you don't have to clear it off. It's part of the work. You do have to take it off every so often and get rid of it, but it's not a big deal. You don't let it build up either. The one thing you don't want on your lathe bed is wood. Wood can go down into the lube system, and wood is not good in a system at all. Steel is good. Any metal will not damage the cutting oil. It can recycle through it. For the space heater, yeah, a filtering system for the diesel would be essential. So we'll see you back soon, folks. Parting off on the lathe. It's a very, very interesting skill. Good luck. Bye bye.